Hello there, and welcome to this sleepy universe zone. Tonight, I want you to imagine something deeply unsettling. Every image of the universe you have ever seen may have quietly deceived you. When people look at photographs captured by the Hubble Space Telescope or the James Webb Space Telescope, they usually come away with the same impression. The universe appears crowded. Galaxies seem scattered everywhere like glowing cities floating close together in an endless sea of darkness. Your brain naturally assumes those galaxies are neighbors, separated by distances that are large, certainly, but still emotionally understandable. After all, they appear side by side in the same image. They look connected. But that instinct is catastrophically wrong. In reality, the distance between galaxies is so unimaginably enormous that even light itself struggles to cross the emptiness between them. And tonight, as your breathing slows and your thoughts gradually soften into the quiet rhythm of this journey, you are going to discover why the space between galaxies may be the most terrifying environment in the known universe. Because the true nature of the cosmos is not defined by stars, or planets or glowing nebulae. It is defined by the darkness between them. And once you fully understand how empty the darkness truly is, the night sky may never feel the same again. If this video helps you relax tonight, or gives your mind a peaceful place to wander before sleep, consider gently leaving a like so this small corner of the universe can reach other people searching for the same calm curiosity you are. Now, get comfortable, settle into the darkness, and let us begin with one of the greatest illusions ever produced by nature itself. The illusion of cosmic closeness. Human beings evolved to understand distances on Earth. Your mind is incredibly good at estimating the space between objects in everyday life. Trees, roads, mountains, faces, buildings fading into the horizon. For millions of years, survival depended on correctly interpreting physical space around your way here. But the universe operates on scales so extreme that those instincts become completely useless. When astronomers point powerful telescopes into deep space, they capture galaxies spread across incomprehensible depths of time and distance. One of the most famous examples is the Hubble Ultra-Deep Field, an image assembled from observations collected over many days by staring at a tiny patch of sky no larger than a grain of sand held at arm's length. Inside that microscopic slice of darkness, astronomers identified roughly 10 galaxies. 10,000 entire galaxies packed into a single frame. Your eyes see density. Your brain sees neighbors. But the image is lying to your instincts. Some of those galaxies are relatively nearby in cosmic terms, sitting only a few 100 million light years away. Others emitted their light more than 13 billion years ago, shortly after the birth of the universe itself. The photograph compresses billions of light years of depth into a flat image, and your brain fills in the gaps by assuming proximity. This is the dangerous illusion hidden inside every deep space image humanity has ever taken. The galaxies only appear close together because your eyes cannot naturally perceive cosmic depth. In reality, galaxies are among the most isolated structures that exist anywhere in the observable universe. Modern cosmological surveys conducted throughout the 2020 seconds, including large-scale mapping projects using the James Webb Space Telescope and the European Space Agency's Euclid mission, continue to confirm something profoundly unsettling. Galaxies occupy only a tiny fraction of cosmic volume. The overwhelming majority of the universe is almost entirely empty. Vast regions known as cosmic voids stretch for millions, sometimes hundreds of millions, of light years with almost nothing inside them. No stars, no planets, barely even atoms, just darkness and expansion. And perhaps the strangest part is that this emptiness is growing larger with time. Right now, at this very moment, the universe itself is expanding. Space is stretching. Galaxies that are not gravitationally bound together are slowly drifting farther apart as the fabric of spacetime expands between them. This discovery, first observed by Edwin Hubble in the 20th century and confirmed repeatedly through modern measurements of cosmic expansion, means the universe is not becoming more connected over time. It is becoming more isolated, more silent, more alone. And yet, most people never emotionally confront this reality because every image they have ever seen unintentionally hides it. Telescope photographs make the cosmos feel crowded. But the truth is the opposite. The universe is not a bustling ocean of galaxies floating close together through space. It is an almost incomprehensibly empty darkness, interrupted only occasionally by tiny islands of light. Tonight, we are going to slowly move outward through that darkness together. We will begin inside our own galaxy, the Milky Way, and discover that even a single galaxy is already so large that the speed of light itself struggles to cross it within meaningful time. Then we will step beyond our galactic shores and confront the terrifying gulf between the Milky Way and Andromeda, our nearest major galactic neighbor. And eventually, as this journey continues deeper into the sweeping cosmos, we will arrive at one of the most haunting realizations in all of astronomy, that the universe may not merely contain loneliness, but may actually be built from it. But before we can understand the true horror of the space between galaxies, we first need to understand the scale of the galaxy you already call home there. Because the Milky Way itself is far larger than the human mind was ever designed to comprehend. Before we even attempt to cross the distance between galaxies, something much stranger has to happen first. You need to realize that your own galaxy is already too large for your mind to truly process. Most people casually say the words the Milky Way as though it were simply a larger version of the solar system, another location in space, another collection of stars floating together in the dark. But the Milky Way is not simply large. It is so enormous that the speed of light itself, the fastest thing the universe allows to exist, moves through it painfully slowly. And once you feel the scale of your own galaxy, the distance between galaxies becomes almost unbearable to imagine. Right now, at this very moment, you are sitting inside a structure containing somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars, according to current astronomical estimate, with recent Gaia mission data suggesting the higher range may be more accurate than scientists once believed. Around many of those stars orbit planets. Around some of those planets may exist oceans, atmospheres, storms, mountains, perhaps even life itself. The Milky Way is not a sparse scattering of stars. It is an enormous gravitational civilization of matter stretching across approximately 100 light-years in diameter. Though newer measurements, including the outer stellar halo and dark matter envelope, suggest its full influence may extend far beyond that. And yet even the conservative number is enough to quietly break human intuition. 100,000 light-years. The phrase sounds scientific and distant, but your brain does not naturally understand what it means. So let us slow it down. Light travels at roughly 100 itexes, 0 miles per second, or nearly 300 kilometers per second. It is so fast that sunlight reaches Earth in only 8 minutes. In just over 1 second, light can travel around Earth more than 7 times. To the human mind, light feels instantaneous. But inside the Milky Way, light suddenly seems slow. A beam of light leaving one side of our galaxy would need roughly 100 years to reach the other side. Not days, not centuries, 100,000 years. When that light began its journey, modern humans did not yet exist in their current form. Entire species of ancient humans had not yet appeared. Civilization, language, agriculture, cities, written history, all it would occur while that single photon was still crossing the galaxy. This is the scale of the structure you already live inside. And the deeper you think about it, the stranger it becomes. Every star you see in the night sky belongs to this enormous spinning system. Our sun itself orbits the galactic center at approximately 230 kilometers per second, fast enough to travel from New York to Los Angeles in under 20 seconds. Yet even moving at that incredible velocity, the sun requires around 225 to 250 million years to complete just one orbit around the Milky Way. Dinosaurs ruled Earth the last time our solar system occupied this position in the galaxy. That is how large the Milky Way truly is. And even inside this gigantic structure, the stars themselves are separated by immense emptiness. If the Sun were reduced to the size of a grain of sand, the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, would still sit several miles away. Most science fiction quietly misleads people by portraying space as crowded, where ships constantly pass planets, stations, asteroid fields, then neighboring stars. Reality is almost offensively empty. Even within galaxies, space is dominated not by objects, but by absence. The interstellar medium, the thin gas and dust between stars, is already far emptier than the best vacuum chambers humanity can produce on Earth. In an average region of interstellar space, you may find roughly 1 atom per cubic centimeter. That sounds dense until you compare it to the air around you right now, which contains roughly 10 quintillion molecules in the same volume. Interstellar space is nearly perfect emptiness. And yet, compared to the void between galaxies, interstellar space is crowded. This is the part most people never emotionally process. The Milky Way already feels impossibly huge because human beings evolved to think in miles, not light years. Your instincts were built for forests, coastlines, storms, and mountains, not cosmic structures so vast that even light ages while crossing them. And still, despite the terrifying size of our galaxy, the Milky Way is merely one island among trillions. Recent deep-field observations from the James Webb Space Telescope continue to support the growing estimate that the observable universe may contain roughly 2 trillion galaxies, 2 trillion separate structures, each containing billions or trillions of stars. But the truly horrifying realization is not how many galaxies exist. It is how isolated they are from one another. Because if the Milky Way itself already requires 100 years for light to cross, what happens when the distance is no longer between stars inside a galaxy, but between galaxies themselves? What happens when the emptiness is no longer interstellar, but intergalactic? The answer is so extreme that your brain will instinctively try to reject it. And that rejection is precisely why the universe appears emotionally smaller than it truly is. Human intuition quietly compresses the cosmos into something manageable because the alternative is almost psychologically unbearable. But in the next part of this journey, we are finally going to step outside the Milky Way itself. And there, waiting beyond the outer halo of our galaxy, sits the nearest major galactic neighbor to Earth, a giant spiral system drifting through the dark toward us for billions of years. The Andromeda Galaxy. A structure so distant that the light entering your eyes tonight began traveling toward Earth long before modern humans ever existed. The most dangerous misunderstanding in astronomy is not that people think space is small. It is that people think nearby in the universe still means emotionally survivable. Because once astronomers begin using words like nearby galaxy or neighboring galaxy, the human brain quietly relaxes. Nearby sounds comforting. Reachable. It creates the illusion that galaxies are separated by distances which, while enormous, still belong to the same universe of practical understanding. But the Andromeda Galaxy destroys that illusion completely, because Andromeda is close. It is the nearest large spiral galaxy to the Milky Way here. It is our cosmic neighbor, our gravitational partner, the giant structure slowly drifting toward us through intergalactic darkness. And yet the distance between us and Andromeda is so extreme that even light itself requires roughly 5 million years to cross the gap. Pause for a moment and let that number settle into your mind. 2.5 million years. The photons entering your eyes when you look toward Andromeda tonight began their journey long before modern humans existed. When that light left Andromeda, early human ancestors were still shaping primitive stone tools on Earth. Entire branches of human evolution unfolded, while those photons drifted silently through the darkness between galaxies. Agriculture had not begun. Language as we know it did not exist. Every empire, every war, every religion, every scientific breakthrough in human history occurred while the light from Andromeda was still crossing the void toward us. You are not seeing Andromeda as it is now. You are seeing a ghost from deep time. Andromeda itself is enormous. Current estimates suggest it contains roughly 1 trillion stars, significantly more than the Milky Way here. Recent observations released through long-term Hubble and James Webb studies have mapped hundreds of millions of individual stars inside the galaxy, revealing vast spiral arms, ancient star clusters, nebulae, and a supermassive black hole at its center containing over 100 million solar masses. It is not a small neighboring object. It is an entire galactic empire, a colossal island of stars larger than almost anything human beings can emotionally comprehend. And it's 5 million light-years away. The number becomes even more disturbing once you compare it to human technology. In late 2024, NASA's Parker Solar Probe became the fastest human-made object ever created, reaching speeds of roughly 430 miles per hour during its close passes around the Sun. At that speed, you could circle Earth in a matter of minutes. You could travel from New York to Tokyo in less than a minute. By human standards, it is almost unimaginably fast. But the universe does not care about human standards. At the speed of the Parker Solar Probe, reaching Andromeda would still require roughly 4 billion years. 4 billion. Merely the age of Earth itself. Humanity's greatest engineering achievement becomes almost motionless when measured against intergalactic distance. And this is the closest major galaxy. Not a distant object near the edge of the observable universe. Not some ancient galaxy visible only through powerful telescopes. This is our nearest spiral neighbor. The best-case scenario? The easiest possible intergalactic journey. Already impossible. Already so large that the human nervous system quietly gives up trying to visualize it. And perhaps the strangest part is that Andromeda is actually moving toward us. For billions of years, gravity has slowly pulled the Milky Way and Andromeda together across the intergalactic dark. Current measurements using Doppler spectroscopy and proper motion data suggest the two galaxies are approaching one another at roughly 110 kilometers per second. Astronomers continue refining the details of their future interaction, with updated studies from the mid-2020s placing the probability of an eventual merger somewhere between roughly 50 and 90% depending on the gravitational influence of surrounding galaxies like Triangulum and the Large Magellanic Cloud. But regardless of the exact trajectory, one thing remains certain. Two galaxies already falling toward one another under mutual gravity still require billions of years to meet. That single fact should fundamentally alter the way you think about the universe. The Milky Way and Andromeda are not static strangers drifting separately through space. They are already connected by gravity, already approaching each other, already participating in a cosmic interaction that began billions of years ago. And still, the gap between them remains so enormous that their collision will likely occur long after the Sun itself begins approaching the end of its stable life. This is what the universe means by nearby. This is what cosmic closeness actually looks like. And between the Milky Way and Andromeda lies something even stranger than the distance itself. Almost nothing. If you could somehow leave the Milky Way behind and travel halfway toward Andromeda, the first thing you would notice is not distance. It would be silence. Not ordinary silence, the kind humans experience in empty rooms or sleeping forests. A deeper silence. A structural silence. The kind produced by a place where almost nothing exists at all. Imagine floating roughly 25 million light-years from both galaxies, suspended in the dark between them. Behind you, the Milky Way would no longer fill the sky as a river of stars. It would appear as a faint glowing oval, soft and distant like a tiny cloud of pale light. Ahead of you, Andromeda would look similar, to dim smudges hanging impossibly far apart across an ocean of darkness. And everywhere else, in every direction, the universe would appear almost perfectly black. No nearby stars, no glowing nebulae, no planets, no constellations, nothing. Human beings are psychologically unprepared for how empty intergalactic space truly is. Even the darkest skies on Earth are overflowing with light compared to the void between galaxies. In deep intergalactic space, the nearest individual stars are so distant that their light becomes nearly invisible to human eyes. The sky itself would feel dead. This is the reality hidden between galaxies. The intergalactic medium, as astronomers call it, is one of the most desolate environments known to science. Recent measurements using fast radio bursts, quasar absorption studies, and observations from space-based X-ray telescopes continue to confirm that the space between galaxies contains only an impossibly thin scattering of particles. In many regions, the density averages roughly 1 atom per cubic meter. 1 atom. Imagine a cube of space the size of an entire washing machine containing a single lonely hydrogen atom drifting through darkness. That is the environment separating galaxies from one another. And this means something profoundly disturbing. Intergalactic space is far emptier than the vacuum inside galaxies themselves. Inside the Milky Way, the interstellar medium still contains gas clouds, dust, magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and faint radiation from billions of surrounding stars. Sparse as it is, interstellar space still feels connected to structure. But intergalactic space severs the connection completely. There is no meaningful atmosphere of matter between galaxies, no invisible ocean linking them together, just a near-perfect vacuum stretching for millions of light years. And yet, despite this emptiness, the intergalactic medium can reach temperatures of millions of degrees. At first, this sounds impossible. How can empty space be both freezing and unimaginably hot? The answer reveals how alien the universe truly is. Temperature in physics measures particle energy, not how warm something feels to human skin. In intergalactic space, particles move at enormous speeds, but there are so few of them that almost no heat transfer occurs. You could freeze to death while surrounded by plasma technically hotter than the surface of the sun. The normal categories humans use to understand reality begin breaking apart out there. Hot and cold lose meaning. Full and empty lose meaning. Even existence itself begins to feel abstract. Modern cosmological simulations suggest that much of this thin plasma forms part of the cosmic web, the gigantic filament structure connecting galaxies and galaxy clusters across the universe. But even these filaments are astonishingly empty compared to anything humans naturally imagine. They are not highways packed with matter. They are ghostly threads drifting across unimaginable darkness. This is why the distance between galaxies feels qualitatively different from every other kind of distance humans experience. Traveling between planets still means moving through the gravitational environment of a star system. Traveling between stars still means remaining inside the larger structure of a galaxy. But between galaxies there is no shared environment, no continuity, no sense of belonging to the same place. The Milky Way and Andromeda are not separated by a long road. They are separated by the absence of roads entirely. And the deeper astronomers study the universe, the clearer one terrifying truth becomes. The galaxies are not the main feature of the cosmos. The emptiness between them is. There is a deeply uncomfortable realization hidden inside modern cosmology. And once you see it clearly, it becomes impossible to unsee. The universe is not primarily made of galaxies. It is not primarily made of stars, planets, black holes, or nebulae. Those are the rare exceptions. The true dominant feature of the cosmos is emptiness. When people imagine the universe, they usually picture a crowded expanse overflowing with glowing objects. Movies and illustrations reinforce this feeling constantly. Spaceships drift through colorful nebulae. Stars fill every direction. Galaxies appear scattered densely across space, like islands in a bright cosmic ocean. But reality is almost the opposite. Modern large-scale sky surveys conducted throughout the 2020 seconds, including mapping data from the Sloan Digital Sky Survey, the Dark Energy Survey, Euclid, and the James Webb Space Telescope, continue to confirm that matter in the universe organizes itself into a gigantic structure known as the cosmic web. And the name itself is slightly misleading because when people hear the word web, They imagine threads covering most of the available space. But, in the universe, the web is thin, fragile, almost vanishingly sparse. The overwhelming majority of the cosmos exists outside those filaments entirely. Astronomers estimate that cosmic voids, enormous regions containing very few galaxies, occupy roughly 80% of the observable universe by volume. 80%. That number quietly changes everything. It means most of existence is not filled with worlds or civilizations or stars burning in the dark. Most of existence is almost completely empty. Galaxies cluster along thin filaments stretching across space for hundreds of millions of light years, while the vast regions between them remain hauntingly barren. Imagine soap bubbles floating together in a sink. The galaxies and clusters exist only along the delicate surfaces where the bubbles touched. Everything else is hollow interior. That is closer to the actual architecture of the universe than the crowded cosmic images human beings instinctively imagine. And some of these voids are so enormous that they begin to feel psychologically impossible. One of the most famous examples is the Boots void, discovered in the 1982 and still one of the largest known cosmic voids ever observed. It spans roughly 330 million light-years across. To understand how horrifying that number really is, remember that the entire Milky Way galaxy measures about 100 light-years in diameters. The Boots void could contain thousands of Milky Ways lined side by side with room left over. Yet inside the gigantic volume, astronomers have identified only a tiny scattering of galaxies compared to what should normally exist there. If the Milky Way were located near the center of such a void, humanity might not even have discovered the existence of other galaxies until very recently. The nearest external galaxies would have been so unimaginably far away that early telescopes simply would not have seen them. For most of human history, the universe would have appeared to contain only our own galaxy surrounded by infinite darkness. The idea of a larger cosmos may have seemed absurd. This means cosmic voids do not merely isolate galaxies physically, they isolate them intellectually. They hide the larger universe itself. And the truly unsettling part is that voids are not accidental defects in cosmic structure. They are the natural outcome of gravity. In the early universe, tiny quantum fluctuations created slight differences in density. Regions containing marginally more matter gradually pulled in additional material through gravity, eventually forming galaxies and clusters. Meanwhile, regions with slightly less matter lost material to their denser neighbors, becoming emptier and emptier over billions of years. The same process that built galaxies also excavated the voids around them. The existence of every galaxy depends on surrounding regions being drained of matter to create it. In other words, galaxies are born from emptiness. Every star that shines in the Milky Way exists because matter elsewhere was removed to help create it. The structure and the void are inseparable parts of the same cosmic process. You cannot have one without the other. And even more disturbing, the emptiness is winning. Because the universe is expanding, the voids continue growing larger over time. Dark energy, the mysterious force driving accelerated cosmic expansion, stretches space itself, causing distant galaxies and clusters to drift farther apart. In dense galaxy clusters, gravity can resist this expansion locally. But inside cosmic voids, where gravity is weak, expansion dominates almost completely. The empty regions grow faster than the cosmic average. The darkness spreads. The filaments thin. The universe slowly becomes more isolated with time. This means the cosmos is not evolving toward greater connection. It is evolving toward greater separation, toward silence, toward fragmentation. And once you emotionally absorb this reality, deep space photographs begin to feel strangely deceptive. Those beautiful telescope images no longer resemble crowded cosmic cities. Instead, they begin to resemble tiny campfires scattered across an endless frozen desert. Brief pockets of warmth surrounded by darkness so enormous that the fires themselves almost seem accidental. The galaxies are real. Their stars are real. The possibility of life inside them may also be real. that the void surrounding them is larger, older, and far more fundamental than the light itself. The universe is not a sea of galaxies. It is a sea of absence with a few rare islands of matter floating inside it. And the deeper astronomers look into the cosmos, the more clearly they realize something almost existentially terrifying. The void is not the exception. The void is the rule. At first glance, the universe appears connected. Galaxies gather into clusters. Clusters linked together through long filaments of matter, stretching across unimaginable distances. Massive superclusters form gigantic structures, spanning hundreds of millions of light years. When astronomers map the cosmos, the universe almost resembles a living nervous system glowing softly in the dark. But this comforting appearance hides a devastating truth. The cosmic web is temporary. The universe is slowly tearing it apart. Right now, at this exact moment, every second that passes makes the cosmos slightly more isolated than it was before. The reason lies in one of the strangest discoveries in modern science: dark energy. In the late 20th century, astronomers studying distant supernovae made an astonishing observation. The expansion of the universe was not slowing down under gravity as expected. It was accelerating. Some unknown force was pushing space itself apart faster and faster over time. Today, dark energy is estimated to make up roughly 68% of the total energy content of the observable universe. And despite decades of research, scientists still do not fully understand what it actually is. But its effects are unmistakable. Space is expanding. The voids are widening. The galaxies are drifting farther apart. And eventually, this process will fundamentally alter the visible universe itself. The Milky Way and Andromeda remain gravitationally bound strongly enough that they will likely merge billions of years from now. But almost every galaxy beyond our local group is slowly receding away from us due to cosmic expansion. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it appears to move away here. This relationship, first described by Edwin Hubble and refined through modern cosmological measurements, means that space itself behaves almost like a stretching fabric. Galaxies are not flying outward through static emptiness like shrapnel from an explosion. Instead, the emptiness itself is expanding between them. And over enormous distances, this expansion becomes overwhelming. Some galaxies are already receding from us faster than light due to the expansion of spacetime. This does not violate Einstein's relativity because those galaxies are not moving through space faster than light. Rather, space itself is stretching between us and them. The distinction sounds technical, but the consequence is chilling. There are regions of the universe that we can see but can never reach. Heavier than counting sheep. Modern cosmology describes this limit using the idea of the cosmic event horizon. Beyond a certain distance, galaxies recede so rapidly through cosmic expansion that light emitted from them today will never reach Earth, no matter how long the universe exists. Their future light is permanently cut off from us. Recent estimates suggest that only a small fraction of the galaxies inside the observable universe remain theoretically reachable, even by light-speed travel. Beginning today, the vast majority are already lost beyond the horizon of future contact, and the number keeps shrinking. Every moment, more galaxies cross beyond the boundary forever. This means humanity lives during a surprisingly special era in cosmic history. Right now, the universe is still young enough for us to observe distant galaxies and reconstruct the story of cosmic evolution. We can still see the cosmic microwave background, the ancient afterglow of the Big Bang. We can still map the large-scale structure of the cosmic web. But this window will not remain open forever. Billions upon billions of years from now, distant galaxies will disappear beyond the horizon entirely. Future civilizations born inside the merged remnant of the Milky Way and Andromeda may see only one galaxy in the entire sky, their own. The rest of the universe will have faded beyond visibility. The evidence for cosmic expansion itself may become impossible to detect. Future astronomers could inhabit a universe that appears static, eternal, and completely alone. The cosmos will erase its own history from view. And perhaps that is the strangest part of all. The universe does not merely separate galaxies physically. It slowly hides them from one another. The cosmic web we observe today is not permanent architecture. It is a temporary phase in a much longer story of increasing isolation. Filaments connecting clusters will stretch thinner over time. Void regions will continue expanding. Distant structures will fade into darkness as their light redshifts beyond detectability. Eventually, every gravitationally bound island of matter will become cosmically alone. Imagine standing on a planet trillions of years from now beneath a dark sky containing only one remaining galaxy. No distant spiral, no clusters, no evidence of the Big Bang, no visible cosmic web, just one enormous island of stars floating inside infinite blackness. The inhabitants of that future galaxy may never know the larger universe once existed. They may believe their galaxy is the entire cosmos because all evidence to the contrary will have vanished beyond the expanding horizon. In a strange way, we may live during the brief moment when the universe still allows itself to be understood, a temporary window of cosmic awareness before the darkness fully closes in. And the deeper scientists study the expansion of space, the more unsettling the conclusion becomes. The universe is not moving toward connection. It is moving toward permanent isolation. At some point, every discussion about intergalactic distance leads to the same terrifying question. Could a civilization ever cross the emptiness between galaxies? Human imagination instinctively wants the answer to be yes. Science fiction suggests that faster engines, stronger energy sources, and more advanced technology could bridge any gap. But the universe does not conform to human optimism. Even under the most generous scenario, a spacecraft traveling at 90% the speed of light, the journey to Andromeda, our nearest major galactic neighbor, would still require roughly 2.8 million years from Earth's perspective. Time dilation would reduce onboard travel somewhat, but the crew would still endure hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, far exceeding any known biological or mechanical lifespan. Accelerating matter to near light speed demands energy so vast that even the combined output of entire civilizations is dwarfed by the requirements. Tiny particles floating through intergalactic space become lethal projectiles at relativistic speeds, turning emptiness itself into a deadly hazard. And as if that weren't enough, the universe is expanding. Space stretches while a ship crosses the void, causing the destination to drift farther away here. Some galaxies are already receding faster than light relative to us, not by moving through space, but because space itself expands. Light emitted from those galaxies today will never reach Earth. They exist in a state of permanent inaccessibility. Deep space photographs are deceptive. They suggest proximity, community, or connection. But these islands of light, each containing billions of stars, float alone inside an endless darkness that grows larger every second. The universe does not treat distance as a challenge to overcome. It enforces isolation as a structural feature. Even the fastest ships, the most sophisticated engineering, cannot bridge these cosmic gulfs within any time frame meaningful to life or civilization. Observing distant galaxies is not the same as reaching them. Watching light arrive from billions of years ago does not create a bridge across the present emptiness. The universe permits awareness but denies contact. In the cosmic architecture, the void dominates. And the closer humans attempt to approach intergalactic travel, the more clearly we see that reality itself is designed to separate. For centuries, humans have asked, are we alone? Modern astronomy suggests life-friendly planets are astonishingly common. The Milky Way alone may host hundreds of billions of planets, many in habitable zones. Beyond our galaxy, the observable universe contains roughly 2 trillion galaxies. Statistically, life could exist everywhere. Yet, intergalactic distances make this possibility irrelevant in practical terms. Imagine a civilization 200 million light-years away. Perhaps it built cities, discovered mathematics, gazed at the sky, and asked the same question we ask. If they sent a radio message, it would take 200 million years to reach us, and another 200 million years for a reply. A single conversation would span geological time scales, far longer than any civilization can survive intact. Even the signal itself would stretch and weaken due to cosmic expansion, gradually blending into the cosmic background. Intergalactic distance converts even abundant life into isolation. Visibility does not imply connection. Galaxies appear near each other through telescopes, but they exist in vast voids, unreachable by any form of communication or travel. Each galaxy is a solitary campfire in an endless, cold ocean. The cosmic web appears connected from afar, but its filaments thin, stretch, and eventually dissolve under the influence of dark energy. Expansion ensures galaxies drift farther apart, stretching voids and deepening isolation. Civilizations, even if intelligent and abundant, remain forever alone. The universe allows observation but prevents interaction. It permits existence but enforces separation. The cosmos is structured not for connection, but for permanent solitude. Even if life thrives everywhere, the scale and physics of intergalactic space guarantee each civilization inhabits its own lonely island of stars, forever out of reach. And the emptiness itself dominates the experience of reality, defining the universe more than the stars within it ever could do. Beyond the Milky Way and Andromeda, the universe unfolds into a vast, silent expanse. Galaxies cluster along thin filaments of the cosmic web, while the enormous voids between them dominate the volume of space. These filaments stretch across hundreds of millions of light years, connecting galaxy clusters that themselves are islands of stars. Yet even within the filaments, galaxies are separated by millions of light years. They are not crowded beads on a string but sparse points of light drifting through nearly perfect emptiness. The voids surrounding them are colder, emptier, and more desolate than any human experience could suggest. Intergalactic space contains only a handful of atoms per cubic meter, and most regions are practically devoid of matter. Radiation from distant stars is faint and diffuse, magnetic fields are negligible, and cosmic rays barely register. Sound cannot propagate. Heat barely transfers. These are not empty rooms. They are near absolute vacuums stretching for unimaginable distances. In this context, every galaxy is an island. The Milky Way, Andromeda, Triangulum, and countless dwarf satellites constitute our local group, a gravitationally bound community spanning roughly 10 million light-years. Even here, the nearest neighboring galaxy may be over 2 million light-years away. Traveling between them with current or even theoretical technology is functionally impossible. Every photon, every signal, every spacecraft requires millions of years to traverse these distances. Outside the local group, distances increase exponentially. Clusters like Virgo, Coma, and Laniakis attend 200 millions of light-years away, separated by vast intergalactic emptiness. Expansion stretches these voids further. Light from some galaxies is already traveling along paths that will never reach us in the future. The observable universe contains roughly 2 trillion galaxies. Yet the majority are islands unreachable and invisible over cosmic time scales. The isolation is both physical and temporal. Even civilizations, if they exist, would be confined to their own galaxies, unable to communicate, explore, or witness one another. Each galaxy burns with billions of stars, illuminates its own planets, and perhaps fosters life, yet each remains a lone day. The beauty of deep-field images hides this truth. Galaxies appear clustered and abundant, yet the darkness between them dwarfs any sense of connectance. The universe is not a crowded ballroom. It is a vast, silent ocean, punctuated by tiny campfires of light, each island isolated in space and time. The emptiness between galaxies is not static. Dark energy drives accelerated expansion, stretching space faster in regions where gravity is weak. Cosmic voids enlarge, filaments thin, and the apparent connections between clusters slowly fade. The cosmic web, so elegant and delicate in deep space images, is a transient structure. Over the encounter sheet. Over billions of years, the filaments connecting clusters will stretch beyond coherence, walls will dissipate, and voids will dominate even more of the universe's volume. Galaxies that today appear close may eventually recede beyond the cosmic event horizon, permanently isolated from each other. Even within clusters, the expansion increases distances between members over time, thinning the density of galaxies and stretching intergalactic space. Light emitted now from distant galaxies may never reach us. Future civilizations, billions of years from now, could inhabit merged galaxies like the Milky Way Andromeda remnant and see no other galaxies in the sky. The universe would appear static, solitary, and eternal, with no evidence of cosmic evolution or the Big Bang. The observable cosmos we perceive today exists in a fleeting window, a brief hour where knowledge of the universe is still accessible. Soon, dark energy will ensure that the great majority of galaxies drift beyond detection, leaving isolated islands of matter surrounded by an expanding void. This expanding darkness is both physical and informational. Signals sent across space are stretched, reads fighted, and diluted until they cannot be distinguished from the cosmic background. Communication, observation, and travel become impossible on most scales. The universe is not merely large. It is actively partitioned. Each galaxy, each cluster, each supercluster becomes an isolated region of matter suspended in infinite emptiness. Civilization, if it emerges, is constrained not by technological limitation, but by the structural properties of spacetime itself. Even if intelligence is widespread, the universe enforces solitude. The silence between galaxies grows louder over cosmic time. The emptiness is not just a lack of matter, it is a defining feature of reality. Space stretches. Light fades. Connections dissolve. The universe evolves toward permanent isolation, a cosmos where every star, every planet, every galaxy burns alone, and the darkness around them expands without end. Even within our local group, the nearest gravitationally bound collection of galaxies, isolation dominates the landscape. The Milky Way, Andromeda, Triangulum, and roughly 130 smaller satellite galaxies occupy a region, roughly 10 million light-years across. That may sound small compared to the full observable universe, but within it, the distances are staggering. The Large Magellanic Cloud, a Milky Way satellite, sits roughly 160, 0 light-years away. The Small Magellanic Cloud is about 200, 0 light-years distant. Even these neighbors require hundreds of thousands of years for light to traverse. Beyond these satellites, larger galaxies like NGC 6000, 822 and I, C1613 lie over 6 million and 4 million light-years away. Even within our densest galactic environment, intergalactic separation dwarfs human comprehension. Light from these galaxies takes millions of years to reach us. A spacecraft traveling at the Parker Solar Probe's record speed would require billions of years to cross these distances. And this is still the tightest galactic neighborhood in our vicinity. Beyond it, the universe grows emptier. The local group's structure resembles a dumbbell, one lobe centered on the Milky Way, the other on Andromeda, with a sparse scattering of dwarfs drifting in between. This arrangement is tenuous. Gravity binds them together, yet the void between these lobes stretches to 5 million light-years. Within this neighborhood, space is not a medium connecting galaxies. It is absence itself. The intergalactic medium contains roughly 1 atom per cubic meter, nearly invisible by any practical measure. Even in a cube large enough to contain the Sun, matter would be effectively undetectable. This isolation is not minor. It is total. Even within the densest gravitational neighborhood, galaxies float in vast emptiness. Each is landed, each practically unreachable from the other. Human intuition, evolved to perceive neighboring objects within hundreds of meters or kilometers, collapses completely under these scales. The local group is a cosmic exception, a fleeting pocket of proximity. Yet it still demonstrates that intergalactic distances are fundamentally inhospitable to connection. Beyond it, distances grow exponentially, and emptiness dominates. Step beyond the local group, and the universe becomes almost impossibly vast. The nearest galaxy cluster of significant size, the Virgo cluster, lies roughly 54 million light-years away. Beyond Virgo lie other clusters and superclusters, connected by faint filaments of matter threading across hundreds of millions of light-years. The observable universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, spread across roughly 93 billion light-years in diameter. Yet even in this immense expanse, the same principle holds. Galaxies are islands. Between them stretches intergalactic space, a near-perfect vacuum with 1 particle per cubic meter on average. Despite the presence of the warm hot intergalactic medium, a diffuse plasma containing 50% of all ordinary matter, the void remains overwhelmingly empty. Dark matter dominates the remainder, forming a scaffolding that structures the cosmic web, but does not fill the voids with anything physically traversable. Voids occupy roughly 80% of the universe's volume. The cosmic web is not a road network. It is a skeletal framework connecting islands of light through oceans of darkness. Filaments are long, thin, and tenuous. Galaxies cluster along nodes where multiple filaments intersect, but the voids separating them dwarf everything inside the filaments. Distances between galaxies along a filament may be measured in millions of light-years. Yet look perpendicular into the surrounding void, and separations can reach hundreds of millions of light-years. These voids are dynamic. Driven by dark energy, they expand faster than denser regions. Filaments slowly thin. Walls separating voids become more diffuse. The universe is not static. Its isolation intensifies. Even where galaxies appear connected in diagrams or telescope images, the emptiness surrounding them grows relentlessly. Intergalactic space is simultaneously sparse, hostile, and expanding. This architecture ensures that even the visible cosmic web provides no medium for practical travel or communication. Light takes millions of years to traverse these voids. Spacecraft cannot bridge the distances within meaningful timescales. Signals degrade or redshift beyond recognition. Connectivity is structurally impossible, and this remains true for virtually all galaxies beyond our local group. In this way, the universe actively enforces isolation. Islands of stars burn brightly, but the oceans surrounding them stretch endlessly, and the darkness grows with every passing epoch. Even the act of observation does not bridge these gaps. Telescopes reveal the presence of distant galaxies, but seeing is not touching. Knowledge does not equal connection. In the cosmic web, distance and emptiness dominate everything. Even the fastest thing in the universe, light itself, becomes ineffective across intergalactic distances. Photons leaving a galaxy today may take millions or billions of years to reach us, and in that time, the universe stretches beneath them. Space expands, distances grow, and light stretches along with it, a process known as cosmological redshift. A radio signal sent across a few 100 million light-years becomes weaker, longer in wavelength, and eventually indistinguishable from cosmic background noise. Even the brightest beacon, traveling at the ultimate cosmic speed limit, cannot reliably bridge the emptiness between galaxies. This is not a technical limitation. It is a fundamental consequence of the universe's structure. Expansion ensures that most galaxies are already on trajectories that make communication impossible. Light can tell us where these galaxies once were, but it cannot carry real-time information about their current state. What arrives at our telescopes is fossilized, a ghost of the past traveling through a void that continues to grow. The implications are profound. We are observers of a universe largely inaccessible, seeing islands of light whose presence remains forever beyond reach. Even if civilizations exist within those galaxies, we could never interact with them. They may already be long gone, evolved into entirely different forms, or extinct, while their light slowly drifts across the dark ocean separating us. Deep space images, no matter how detailed, provide a snapshot, not a bridge. They depict proximity that does not exist, clustering that is illusory, and islands that are functionally isolated. The universe allows observation but enforces separation. The concept of the cosmic event horizon defines the ultimate limit of accessibility in the universe. Beyond this invisible boundary, light emitted today from distant galaxies will never reach us, no matter how long the universe exists. Currently, estimates place this horizon roughly 16 to 18 billion light-years away. Any galaxy beyond it is effectively lost. Even if life or civilizations exist there, no message, no observation, no spacecraft could ever arrive or return. The observable universe extends farther, roughly 46.5 billion light-years in every direction, but only a small fraction of that volume remains theoretically reachable. Cosmologists estimate that approximately 94% of galaxies visible today are already beyond reach, permanently separated by the expansion of space. In other words, most of the universe exists in isolation. Observing a distant galaxy does not guarantee any form of connection. Light allows knowledge of the past but not interaction with the present. The expansion of space actively works against intergalactic travel and communication, and dark energy ensures this isolation will only intensify. Over the next tens to hundreds of billions of years, the majority of galaxies will cross the cosmic event horizon, leaving only gravitationally bound structures, like the local group, in contact with one another. The universe does not merely grow large. It actively partitions itself, isolating every island of matter within an ocean of emptiness. Our knowledge of the cosmos exists in a fleeting moment. Future observers in merged galaxies like Milky Way, formed from the Milky Way and Andromeda, may look outward and see nothing but darkness. No clusters, no filaments, no evidence of the Big Bang. The universe itself will have erased most of its own observable history, leaving each civilization in structural solitude. The cosmic event horizon is not a limitation. It is a fundamental rule of the universe, one that guarantees that even knowledge cannot overcome the vast emptiness between galaxies. Over the next several billion years, the galaxies of the local group, primarily the Milky Way, Andromeda, Triangulum, and their satellites, will merge into a single massive galaxy, often referred to as Milky Way. Stars will mingle, dark matter halos will combine, and the resulting galaxy will contain the combined stellar populations of every member of the local group. From the outside, this might sound like a new beginning, a grand cosmological reunion. Yet even this merged galaxy will exist within an expanding void, isolated from all other structures in the universe. Beyond Milky Way, the expansion of space ensures that neighboring clusters, filaments, and superclusters will drift ever farther, disappearing behind the cosmic event horizon. Over tens of billions of years, every galaxy not bound by gravity to the local group will vanish from observable contact. Light from these distant galaxies will be forever out of reach. The universe itself will be contracting in accessibility, even as it continues to expand in volume. Civilizations within Milky Way will see only their own stars, planets, and remnants of their combined galaxy. The cosmic web, once visible across hundreds of millions of light-years, will be nothing more than a distant memory, erased by the relentless expansion of space. This is the structural reality of the universe. Isolation is inevitable. Even the largest gravitationally bound collection of galaxies will remain islands amid a vast and growing darkness. The emptiness outside the local group is not temporary or accidental. It is the defining feature of cosmic architecture. Consider the journey of light itself as it attempts to cross these cosmic gulfs. A photon emitted from the outskirts of Milky Way toward a distant cluster will take tens of millions of years to arrive, if it can arrive at all. Beyond the cosmic event horizon, the photon's journey will never complete, swallowed by the expansion of space. Time and distance merge into a scale that is almost impossible for the human mind to grasp. The 5 million light-years separating the Milky Way and Andromeda are already incomprehensible, yet the distances to other clusters multiply that by tens, hundreds, or even thousands. The time it would take light to bridge these expanses converts every potential interaction into a journey spanning multiple lifetimes, or even the duration of entire species. Relativistic travel compresses onboard time, but cannot counter the structural isolation imposed by the universe. Even a spacecraft moving at 99% the speed of light would take tens of thousands of years to reach a galaxy outside the local group, long before it could return, communicate, or interact meaningfully. Each photon, each signal, each attempt at contact is constrained not by technological limits alone, but by the very physics of space and time. The universe enforces a scale that humans cannot override. Galaxies may be visible, civilizations may exist, but for all practical purposes, they remain unreachable. Light itself cannot bridge the loneliness. This is why the emptiness between galaxies is not merely a measure of distance, it is a measure of permanence. Islands of matter drift apart, surrounded by oceans of emptiness, and the passage of time only deepens that isolation. Observing distant galaxies becomes an act of witnessing the past, not interacting with the present. Knowledge does not equate to connection. The cosmos is simultaneously illuminated and severed, filled with light yet dominated by darkness. Each galaxy burns alone in a silent, ever-expanding ocean. The universe is not static. Every second, space itself stretches, and with it, the galaxies drift farther from one another. This expansion, first observed by Edwin Hubble nearly a century ago and now confirmed by decades of precise measurements, does not act uniform. Dense regions where gravity is strong resist the pull and remain bound. But in the vast emptiness between clusters and superclusters, dark energy dominates. There, the voids expand faster than galaxies can move under their own gravity. Over billions of years, this effect compounds. Galaxies that appear close today may be carried away, irreversibly lost beyond the cosmic event horizon. Even light cannot reach them once they cross this threshold. The observable universe is filled with trillions of galaxies, yet the majority are receding from us faster than information or travel could ever bridge. Expansion guarantees isolation. It is a slow but relentless force, stretching the universe into an architecture designed for solitude. Cosmic filaments thin. Superclusters drift apart. The voids grow larger, emptier, colder. Human intuition fails here. Distances become meaningless in conventional terms. A billion light years is no longer simply a measure of space but a barrier beyond interaction. The universe is actively enforcing separation, not merely letting it occur. Every cluster, every potential civilization exists as an isolated campfire in a growing ocean of darkness, and expansion ensures that the distances between them will only increase with time. This relentless stretching transforms the cosmos into a permanent network of isolation, where even light itself becomes a prisoner of distance. When we gaze into the deepest reaches of space, what we see is always the past. Light arriving from distant galaxies left them billions of years ago. We observe them not as they are now, but as they once were. The Andromeda galaxy, for example, appears as it did 5 million years ago. Most galaxies beyond the local group are even older, their photons carrying information from when the universe was much younger. Yet those galaxies in their present state are already further away here. Space expands continuously, and many are receding faster than light can travel through it. The universe we see is a ghostly archive. Observation reveals the history of cosmic structures, not their current reality. Each image is a frozen tableau of isolation. No matter how advanced future civilizations may become, or how sophisticated our instruments get, we can never physically reach most of these galaxies. Even the most powerful telescopes merely allow us to witness ghosts of light that traverse the emptiness over billions of years. This knowledge creates a strange paradox. The more we see, the more we realize how profoundly unreachable the universe truly is. Visibility does not mean accessibility. Light bridges time but not space in any practical sense. Each galaxy exists as an island, isolated in space and time, burning with billions of stars, yet beyond comprehension and forever separated by expanding voids. The universe is a museum of the past, a gallery of unreachable worlds. Observers can study, measure, and imagine, but the structures themselves remain isolated. Civilizations, if they exist in these galaxies, are beyond contact. They exist, and we can know they exist, yet for all practical purposes, they remain locked away in the expanding darkness, unreachable and alone. The universe is simultaneously full of light and dominated by absence, and the ghosts of galaxies illuminate the vast emptiness that defines cosmic reality. At first glance, the universe seems connected. Galaxies cluster along filaments, forming the intricate cosmic web that threads across the cosmos. Dense nodes mark the intersections where clusters gather, and filaments slink them like fragile bridges spanning unimaginable distances. Yet this network is deceptive. The majority of space is empty, and the filaments themselves are tenuous, stretching across hundreds of millions of light years while barely containing the galaxies they connect. Dark energy slowly pulls at the web, stretching space and the voids faster than gravity can resist. Over billions of years, filaments thin further, nodes drift apart, and the structural integrity of these connections weakens. What seems like a network of cosmic highways today will, in the far future, resemble scattered debris, floating across a growing void. Even galaxies that appear neighbors in images are often separated by millions of light years. The universe is not a bustling city, it is a sparsely populated archipelago where connections are temporary, fragile, and constantly threatened by the expansion of space itself. Observers can trace the filaments, measure gravitational effects, map dark matter, but these efforts reveal not a network of accessibility, but a framework of isolation. The architecture of the universe ensures that islands of matter remain largely unreachable from one another, even as they cling to the faint threads of the cosmic web. And the deeper the voids stretch, the clearer it becomes that the structure of isolation is not incidental. It is the dominant feature of reality itself. Even within the cosmic web, galaxies are profoundly alone. Stars within a galaxy orbit the same center, bathed in a shared interstellar medium. Yet between galaxies, there is no such cohesion. The intergalactic medium is almost perfectly empty, with roughly 1 atom per cubic meter. Even clusters of galaxies, held together by gravity, are islands surrounded by darkness. Any traveler attempting to leave one galaxy for another would cross millions of light years of near-empty space, encountering only sparse plasma and occasional high-energy particles. Communication across these distances is similarly limited. Radio waves, light, and other signals take millions of years to arrive, often stretched and diluted by cosmological expansion. Civilizations, if they exist, remain functionally isolated. A civilization in a distant galaxy might develop technologies, build entire histories, and evolve over eons. Yet they cannot interact with neighbors beyond their gravitationally bound system. Visibility does not equal accessibility. The night sky is filled with stars and galaxies, yet each exists in solitude. Even when observed, distant galaxies are locked behind an expanding void, unreachable for any physical or informational exchange. The universe, in its vastness, enforces a profound loneliness. Every galaxy burns brightly, yet each is confined to its own sphere, surrounded by darkness that expands relentlessly with cosmic time. The cosmic architecture ensures that isolation is not an accident, it is the rule. Every light-year travel brings a new realization. The universe is full of matter, full of stars, full of possibilities. and yet dominated by emptiness that guarantees solitude. Step beyond the galaxy's halo, and the universe changes qualitatively. Interstellar space is already sparse, yet intergalactic space is something else entirely. Here, matter is spread so thin that human intuition struggles to grasp it. The intergalactic medium contains roughly 1 atom per cubic meter, less than a billionth of the density of air at sea level. Imagine reaching out your hand and sweeping through a volume the size of a building, touching almost nothing. Sparse clouds of plasma, heated to millions of degrees, drift through the void, yet their energy is meaningless in any practical sense because interactions between particles are vanishingly rare. Even light travels for millions of years across these distances, and a single photon carries no immediate connection, only a record of the past. Cosmic rays drift through this emptiness, yet collisions are extraordinarily rare. The void is hostile not in the sense of danger, but in the sense of functional absence. It cannot transmit energy, pressure, or matter in any meaningful way here. Intergalactic space is a vacuum on a scale that dwarfs anything humans experience. The emptiness dominates over the rare islands of galaxies, defining the universe as a place of structural isolation. Even the densest filaments in the cosmic web, which connect clusters of galaxies, are surrounded by millions of light years of nothingness. Expansion stretches the voids further, amplifying the distance between cosmic structures. The universe is not simply vast, it is organized around absence. Galaxies are the exceptions, matter clinging to the few remaining threads of structure in a sea of emptiness. And this emptiness is not temporary. Dark energy ensures it will grow, stretching the gaps between galaxies ever wider, rendering most of the observable universe functionally unreachable over time. Even imagining travel between galaxies highlights the cruelty of cosmic scale. Suppose a civilization could construct a ship capable of moving at 99% of the speed of light, an extreme scenario far beyond known physics. Crossing the distance to Andromeda would take over 1 million years on board, and billions of years as measured from Earth. A journey to a more distant cluster like Virgo or Coma becomes absurd, tends to hundreds of millions of years of travel, longer than the lifespan of any civilization or planet. Energy requirements alone are staggering. Accelerating even a small spacecraft to relativistic speeds demands amounts of energy comparable to a star's total output over centuries. Maintaining life fuel and structural integrity for millions of years is beyond imagination. Even ignoring these constraints, expansion worsens the problem. While the ship travels, space itself stretches. Targets drift farther away, and light-speed communication becomes meaningless. Radio signals sent to distant galaxies take millions or billions of years, and by the time a reply could arrive, the civilization that sent it may no longer exist. Intergalactic travel and communication are constrained not by engineering, but by the universe itself. Expansion, distance, and emptiness combine to create barriers no technology can overcome. Every galaxy remains a solitary island, every civilization confined to its local cosmic neighborhood. The cosmos allows awareness, observation, and measurement, but it enforces physical and informational isolation. Distance is not just large, it is an inescapable structural reality, defining the experience of the universe at the largest scales. Even if life exists everywhere, it remains trapped in its own island of stars, separated by oceans of darkness that grow wider with every passing eon. The universe is often imagined as a landscape filled with stars and galaxies, a vast playground of light and activity. Yet the reality is far more profound. Between the luminous islands of the cosmos lies emptiness, so vast it defies comprehension. Intergalactic space is not just sparsely populated. It is dominated by near-total absences. The warm-hot intergalactic medium, composed of ionized gas, threads faintly through filaments connecting galaxies, yet even in its densest regions it contains only a handful of particles per cubic meter. Compare that to the air we breathe, which holds roughly 25 trillion molecules per cubic meter. and the scale of emptiness becomes immediately apparent. Beyond the filaments, in the heart of cosmic voids, particle density drops even further. Vast regions spanning hundreds of millions of light years exist where matter is almost entirely absent. Light that travels through these regions moves unimpeded, yet its journey stretches across epochs, carrying information from the distant past rather than present reality. Temperature in these voids is extreme but paradoxical. Particles may possess kinetic energies equivalent to millions of degrees, yet because there are so few of them, no meaningful heat transfer occurs. Sound cannot propagate, chemistry cannot form, and physical interactions are vanishingly rare. Even the most powerful telescopes cannot transform this emptiness into navigable space. Galaxies appear clustered in images, giving the impression of a crowded universe, but that density is deceptive. The actual three-dimensional separation, measured in millions of light years, renders any notion of physical proximity meaningless. Expansion exacerbates this isolation. Dark energy stretches space between structures, accelerating the drift of galaxies apart. What seems connected today may be beyond reach tomorrow. Even light cannot always bridge the increasing distance. Photons may never reach observers in faraway galaxies once those galaxies cross the cosmic event horizon. Civilizations, if they exist, are trapped in their own gravitationally bound regions, islands in a sea of darkness. Observation is possible, interaction is not. Each galaxy, each cluster, each stellar system is a solitary campfire in the cold, silent ocean of intergalactic space. The vastness is structural, not merely spatial. The universe does not merely contain emptiness, it is defined by overman counting sheep. Over billions of years as filaments thin and voids expand, isolation will intensify. Galaxies will drift ever farther apart, reducing the accessible universe to only a tiny fraction of the observable volume. The cosmic architecture is both beautiful and cruel. Light illuminates the cosmos, but distance enforces solitude. The universe's design is not about crowding or connectivity, it is about separation. Even trillions of galaxies, each burning with billions of stars, remain functionally alone, surrounded by darkness that stretches beyond imagination. To exist within this universe is to live within a realm where emptiness is the dominant force, and light, matter, and life are fleeting exceptions clinging to fragile threads of structure in a vast, growing void. Even if life and civilization are widespread across the cosmos, intergalactic distances render contact impossible. Imagine an advanced society in a galaxy 200 million light years away. Even if they could send a perfectly directed signal at the speed of light, a reply would take another 200 million years to return. That is longer than almost all species survive. Expansion of space stretches wavelengths, diluting unread shifting signals until they fade into background noise. Messages become faint whispers practically unreadable. Travel is equally prohibitive. Hypothetical spacecraft traveling at near light speed still require hundreds of thousands to millions of years to cross the emptiness separating galaxies. Life may thrive, civilizations may emerge, but isolation is structural. Distance transforms potential connection into a permanent barrier. Visibility does not equate to accessibility. Observing a distant galaxy tells you it exists, but not what is happening there now or ever in the future. The universe is a collection of isolated systems, islands of stars, matter, and perhaps intelligence, separated by darkness so vast that practical interaction is impossible. Even within filaments or clusters, galaxies are separated by millions of light years. And beyond that, the voids expand endlessly. The cosmic web, once an elegant network connecting matter, is fragile and temporary. Expansion thins filaments and stretches voids, gradually severing even gravitational links beyond bound system. Civilizations in distant galaxies may develop science, mathematics, art, and history entirely unknowable to any other intelligent beings. For all intents and purposes, they remain alone, trapped within their local gravitational neighborhood. The universe allows awareness, observation, and measurement, but denies interaction. Even with countless civilizations, the cosmic architecture enforces isolation. This isolation is not incidental, it is fundamental. Light years are lifetimes. Distances are temporal, as well as spatial. Galaxies burn in solitude, civilizations rise and vanish in isolation, and the darkness that surrounds them expands relentlessly. Even as observers, we are confined to our own campfire of stars, seeing others only through ancient light, never touching, never conversing, and never bridging the structural emptiness that defines the cosmos. The universe is simultaneously full of matter and dominated by absence, illuminating the isolation that shapes every cosmic scale. As time passes, the universe continues its relentless expansion, and with it, the limits of accessibility tighten. The cosmic event horizon defines the boundary beyond which light emitted today will never reach us. Galaxies crossing this horizon are effectively lost forever, invisible and unreachable. Estimates place this boundary roughly 16 to 18 billion light-years from Earth. Beyond it, galaxies are permanently isolated, and even light-speed travel cannot bridge the gulf. The observable universe may extend farther, 46.5 billion light-years, but only a tiny fraction remains reachable. Roughly 94% of galaxies visible today have already crossed thresholds of permanent isolation. This includes trillions of galaxies, each with billions of stars, potentially hosting planets and life. Observation allows knowledge of their existence but provides no means of interaction. The universe, in effect, is actively severing connection. As expansion accelerates under dark energy, the emptiness between structures grows faster, stretching light and signals across voids so vast that they fade into the cosmic background. Even gravitationally bound clusters cannot escape the surrounding expansion, which slowly diminishes their influence over larger scales. The local group, Milky Way, Andromeda, Triangulum, and their satellites, remains bound, a rare exception in an otherwise isolating cosmos. Outside it, distances increase relentlessly. Future civilizations born within the local group will witness only their own galaxy and its merged remnants, such as Milky Way, surrounded by growing darkness. Filaments of the cosmic web will thin and vanish, superclusters will drift beyond recognition, and vast voids will dominate the universe. Observers will see islands of matter floating in infinite darkness, with no evidence of the broader cosmos. This is the universe's architecture. Islands of light suspended in a sea of emptiness, growing lonelier with each passing epoch. Expansion is not a passive backdrop, it is an active force creating permanent isolation. Even the galaxies we can theoretically reach today are finite in number and shrinking over time. The expansion of space ensures that every year, more galaxies cross beyond the cosmic horizon, leaving only the local group as a connected system. Today, we might reach perhaps 6% of observable galaxies in principle, but this fraction steadily declines. Every century, hundreds of millions of stars and additional galaxies pass beyond accessibility, turning what once was a reachable cosmos into an increasingly solitary environment. Light from these galaxies takes millions of years to arrive, and any signal we send is stretched, diluted, and degraded by cosmological redshift. Even civilizations capable of sending messages at light speed would find communication meaningless. Responses arrive long after the original civilization has vanished. The universe enforces isolation at a structural level, not by chance or limitation of intelligence, technology, or energy. Physical laws, the expansion of space, and the scale of intergalactic emptiness guarantee permanent separation. Beyond the local group, the nearest galaxy clusters, such as Virgo or Coma, are tens to hundreds of millions of light-years away. Crossing these distances is physically, temporally, and energetically impossible. Light itself becomes a relic of the past, a record of galaxies that may already have drifted further, unreachable in the present. Observation provides knowledge, but connection remains forbidden. Civilization, even if abundant and intelligent, cannot overcome the isolation built into the cosmos. The universe is not only vast, it is actively partitioned. The distances, the expanding voids, the event horizon, and dark energy collectively produce a structure in which most matter exists in permanent solitude. Every galaxy, every star, every potential civilization exists as an island, surrounded by an emptiness that grows wider with each cosmic epoch. Even the act of looking at distant galaxies through our telescopes cannot bridge this isolation. The universe permits us to see, but not to touch, to observe, but not to connect. And in this, the loneliness of the cosmos becomes unavoidable. When we look at the night sky or at deep field images captured by Hubble or James Webb, the galaxies appear numerous, clustered, and somehow close together. Our minds instinctively interpret these images as crowded, connected, familiar. But reality is almost the opposite. The universe is dominated by emptiness. Galaxies are exceptions, the rare luminous points clinging to thin filaments in a vast sea of darkness. Cosmic voids occupy roughly 80% of the observable universe. In some regions, they stretch hundreds of millions of light years with almost nothing inside. No stars, no planets, almost no atoms. Even the warm, hot intergalactic medium, a diffuse plasma threading filaments, contains only a few particles per cubic meter. The rest is dark matter, invisible, but gravitationally shaping the cosmos. Light travels across these voids for millions or billions of years, carrying the record of past structures. Yet the present reality remains inaccessible. Expansion stretches distances further, thinning filaments, enlarging voids, and intensifying isolation. The beauty of cosmic imagery hides the structural loneliness of the universe. Galaxies are burning campfires suspended in a dark ocean, bright but solitary, each confined to its own island of matter. Communication, travel, or connection between them is functionally impossible. Even light becomes a fossil, and any civilization attempting contact would face the impossibility of bridging time and space. Isolation is not incidental. It is built into the architecture of reality itself. Over them counting sheep. Over them counting sheep. Over cosmic time, the darkness grows, consuming filaments, stretching voids, and ensuring that most galaxies remain forever unreachable. Even if life exists widely across the cosmos, the architecture of space enforces isolation. A civilization in a galaxy hundreds of millions of light years away may flourish, develop technology, build knowledge, and explore its local stars, but it remains trapped on its island of matter. Signals sent to other galaxies would take millions or billions of years to arrive, stretched by expansion and diluted into the cosmic background. Relativistic travel, even at speeds near light, cannot overcome these distances without taking millions of years on board, longer than the lifespan of civilizations or species. Expansion ensures that many galaxies are receding faster than light can travel through space, placing them permanently beyond reach. Observation allows knowledge but not interaction. Galaxies may be visible, but their present states, civilizations, or life forms are effectively inaccessible. Even in the most favorable scenarios, the universe enforces solitude. Every galaxy, every cluster, every potential civilization is a solitary island in a sea of emptiness that grows ever larger. Expansion, emptiness, and the cosmic event horizon combine to make interaction impossible. The universe is simultaneously full of matter and dominated by absence, a collection of luminous islands trapped within an ever-expanding ocean of darkness. Knowledge does not bridge the gap, observation does not replace contact. The universe permits existence, light, and measurement, but it ensures that isolation remains the structural norm. Even trillions of galaxies and billions of civilizations cannot escape the loneliness written into the fabric of reality itself. In the coming billions of years, the Milky Way and Andromeda will merge, forming a single massive galaxy astronomers call Milky Way. Stars from both galaxies will mingle, dark matter halos will merge, and the new galaxy will contain the combined stellar populations of the local group. While this merger might seem like a cosmic reunion, it occurs within an ever-expanding void. Beyond Milky Way, galaxies not gravitationally bound to the local group continue to drift farther away here. Expansion ensures that over tens of billions of years, most of the universe will recede beyond the cosmic horizon, becoming forever inaccessible. Filaments connecting clusters will thin and dissolve. The local group will be the only gravitationally connected neighborhood left. Observers in Milky Way will look outward and see mostly darkness, with distant galaxies disappearing into the ever-growing void. Even the cosmic microwave background will fade, redshifting beyond detectability. The universe will appear isolated and eternal, with Milky Way as the solitary island of light in a vast, silent ocean. Civilization, if it exists at that time, will be confined to this single merged galaxy, with no access to the rest of the universe. The structural loneliness of the cosmos becomes absolute. Expansion, emptiness, and the cosmic event horizon guarantee that isolation is permanent, and even the most spectacular merger cannot overcome the void beyond. Light is the fastest traveler, yet even it cannot overcome the scale of the universe. Photons leaving distant galaxies take millions or billions of years to reach us. In many cases, the galaxies we observe today are already further away than their light suggests. Cosmological redshift stretches signals, diluting energy and altering wavelength until information becomes indistinguishable from background noise. Observation provides knowledge, yet it cannot enable interaction. The light we receive is a fossil, showing where galaxies once were, not where they exist now. Even if civilizations thrive in these galaxies, we can only witness their past, never communicate with their present. Isolation is enforced not by the limits of technology, but by the universe itself. Expansion, distance, and emptiness create a structural barrier that cannot be crossed. Every visible galaxy is a campfire in an infinite dark sea, bright and real, yet fundamentally inaccessible. Light connects us to the past but cannot bridge the present. Travel, communication, or meaningful contact is impossible across intergalactic distances. Even the 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe are islands, functionally isolated by space, time, and expansion. The universe permits awareness but denies connection, and this defines the experience of cosmic loneliness on the largest scale. The deeper we explore, the more the universe reveals its true character. Emptiness dominates. The voids between galaxies are not static or passive. They are growing. Dark energy accelerates the expansion of space, stretching voids faster than gravity can pull structures together. Filaments of the cosmic web thin over billions of years, walls of galaxies dissipate, and isolated clusters drift farther apart. The universe is not becoming more connected. It is becoming lonelier. Even galaxies that appear clustered today may, in the future, cross beyond the cosmic event horizon, leaving only local gravitationally bound systems. Light emitted from these galaxies now will never reach us, effectively erasing them from future contact. Expansion ensures that isolation intensifies with every epoch. The cosmos is not simply vast, it is structurally designed to enforce solitude. The emptiness is active, dynamic, and relentless, stretching continuously, turning the universe into a growing ocean where luminous islands drift further apart, bound only to themselves. Observers in any galaxy, even the Milky Way, are witnessing a momentary window of visibility in a universe that will eventually conceal nearly all matter behind horizons of permanent darkness. Each light year traveled, each photon received, reminds us that the universe is simultaneously illuminated and dominated by absence. The darkness is structural, unavoidable, and expanding. Every galaxy exists as a solitary island in the vast cosmic ocean. Stars burn brightly within, planets orbit silently. Then perhaps life emerges. But beyond the halo of each galaxy lies darkness stretching millions of light years. Even inside filaments, Galaxies are separated by incomprehensible distances. Beyond the filaments, voids dominate. Intergalactic space is nearly empty, with roughly 1 atom per cubic meter. Light and radiation drift unimpeded. Yet travel across these distances requires millions of years, and expansion ensures the targets recede continuously. Even the nearest major galaxies are effectively unreachable. Observation allows knowledge of their existence, yet interaction remains impossible. Civilizations, if present, remain trapped on their cosmic islands, unable to communicate, explore, or witness one another. The cosmic web, elegant in images, is fragile. Filaments thin, walls of galaxies diffuse, and voids expand under dark energy. Each galaxy's isolation grows with time. Even trillions of galaxies, burning with billions of stars, remain functionally alone. The universe permits awareness but enforces separation. Every luminous point is a campfire suspended in darkness, burning in solitude. Light bridges the past but cannot convey the present. The emptiness between galaxies is the dominant reality, defining the architecture of the universe, shaping isolation as an intrinsic property of cosmic structure. The loneliness is structural, eternal, and expanding as the universe continues to stretch, separating matter, energy, and potentially life into islands that may never touch again. As we continue to explore the universe, the enormity of intergalactic isolation becomes unavoidable. Galaxies are not merely distant, they are functionally unreachable. The nearest major neighbor, Andromeda, is 2.5 million light-years away. That distance alone exceeds human comprehension, but the cosmos does not stop there. Beyond our local group, galaxies, clusters, and superclusters stretch across tens, hundreds, or even billions of light-years. Even light, the fastest thing in existence, requires millions or billions of years to traverse these voids. Modern cosmology shows that this emptiness is permanent, structural, and enforced by the very laws of the universe. Expansion drives galaxies apart, dark energy accelerates the stretching of space, and the cosmic event horizon defines an ultimate limit beyond which information can never reach us. Galaxies visible today may already be inaccessible in their present state. Light reaching Earth is fossilized, a record of where galaxies were, not where they are. This creates a paradoxical scenario. We can observe the universe, yet it is fundamentally beyond our reach. Civilizations, if they exist, are trapped in their own galaxies. Radio signals, even at light speed, take millions of years to arrive and are stretched and diluted by expansion. Any conversation is effectively impossible. Intergalactic travel, even at relativistic speeds, would require durations spanning hundreds of thousands to millions of years, far beyond biological or mechanical endurance. Energy requirements for such journeys are astronomically high, demanding outputs comparable to entire stars. The universe does not merely separate galaxies, it enforces isolation across time, space, and information. Even within the densest regions, such as filaments connecting clusters, galaxies remain separated by millions of light-years. The vast voids, expanding continuously, dominate the observable universe. This is not temporary loneliness. It is a permanent feature of cosmic architecture. Galaxies are islands, clusters are archipelagos, and the universe itself is a growing ocean of darkness. Observers are constrained by time and distance, capable of witnessing past light, but never reaching or interacting with the present states of distant systems. Civilization, even if abundant, exists as a series of isolated experiences, confined to local galaxies. Observation reveals existence but not accessibility. This structural isolation is reinforced over cosmic time, as expansion thins filaments, enlarges voids, and pushes galaxies beyond the cosmic event horizon. The universe permits knowledge but denies interaction. Light years become lifetimes, and every island of matter is surrounded by growing emptiness. In the grand architecture of the cosmos, isolation is not incidental, it is the rule. Even as trillions of galaxies burn across the universe, each exists alone, surrounded by emptiness that will only grow over time. Intergalactic separation is total, enduring, and absolute. The universe does not reward proximity, it enforces solitude. Observers, civilizations, and all matter are confined to their islands, isolated across space-time and the expanding darkness. The cosmic event horizon is the ultimate limit of what is physically accessible. Beyond this boundary, galaxies recede faster than light can traverse the expanding space between them. Light emitted today from these galaxies will never reach us, and no spacecraft, regardless of technology, could ever reach them. Estimates place this horizon roughly 16 to 18 billion light-years from Earth, though the observable universe extends farther, about 46 times farther. 5 billion light-years. Even within that observable sphere, only a tiny fraction of galaxies are theoretically reachable, and that fraction shrinks steadily over time. Modern cosmology estimates that roughly 94% of visible galaxies today are already permanently inaccessible. Expansion and dark energy continually stretch the voids, pushing more galaxies beyond reach. The universe is actively enforcing isolation. Photons arriving from distant galaxies carry records of past states but cannot convey present conditions. Any attempt at communication or travel becomes meaningless. A civilization in a distant cluster might send a radio signal, but it would take tens or hundreds of millions of years to arrive, by which time both sender and receiver may no longer exist. Physical and informational isolation are guaranteed. Even bound structures like the local group will eventually merge into Milky Way, the combined galaxy of the Milky Way and Andromeda, leaving it surrounded by an expanding void. Filaments thin, superclusters drift apart, and cosmic voids grow larger, dominating the universe. The cosmic horizon ensures that islands of matter, no matter how luminous or full of life, remain unreachable from one another. The universe permits observation but denies interaction. Expansion, emptiness, and the event horizon together create a cosmos in which isolation is absolute. Galaxies burn brightly, clusters glow faintly, but beyond gravitationally bound regions, darkness stretches endlessly. Civilizations are confined to their local galaxies, bound by the structure of space and the relentless expansion. Knowledge may exist across the cosmos, but interaction, travel, or contact is impossible for the vast majority of structures. Light becomes a messenger of the past, travel becomes a multi-millennial challenge, and even signals degrade irretrievably across the void. The universe, vast and luminous, is dominated by absence. Every galaxy, every cluster exists as a solitary island, separated by oceans of dark, expanding emptiness that grow ever larger with time. The accessible universe shrinks with each passing epoch, leaving only islands of matter surrounded by an ever-expanding sea of isolation. Over billions of years, the galaxies of the local group, Milky Way, Andromeda, Triangulum, and their satellites will merge into a single massive galaxy, Milky Way. Stars will mingle, dark matter halos will combine, and the new galaxy will become the sole gravitationally bound structure in its neighborhood. Beyond it, the expansion of space will carry all other galaxies farther away, past the cosmic event horizon, forever inaccessible. The cosmic web connecting distant clusters will thin and eventually dissolve, leaving Milky Way isolated within an endless void. Observers in Milky Way will look outward and see almost nothing. No filaments, no clusters, no evidence of the universe beyond their merged galaxy. Even the cosmic microwave background will fade beyond detection, leaving only darkness around their solitary island of stars. The emptiness surrounding Milky Way is absolute. Expansion stretches the voids, dark energy accelerates their growth, and time ensures that all distant galaxies disappear from observational and physical contact. Civilization, if it exists, will be confined to this single galaxy, and the universe outside will be unreachable forever. This is the structural reality of cosmic isolation. Even the largest and most connected systems eventually become islands in a growing ocean of darkness. Even light, the fastest messenger in the universe, is constrained by cosmic distances and expansion. Photons traveling from distant galaxies take millions or billions of years to arrive. By the time they reach Earth, the galaxies from which they originated may have moved even farther away here. Many galaxies are already receding faster than light can travel through expanding space. Light from them is fossilized, revealing only the past, not the present. Radio signals and other attempts at communication face the same barrier. Stretched and reeds fighted over vast distances, eventually blending into cosmic background noise. Observation becomes knowledge without connection. A civilization might observe billions of galaxies, yet have no practical access to any of them. Every luminous island is isolated, and the darkness around it grows relentlessly. Even in filaments connecting clusters, distances are measured in millions of light years, and expansion ensures these separations increase. Light bridges the past but cannot overcome the present isolation. The universe is simultaneously luminous and empty, full of stars yet dominated by structural solitude. Civilizations, planets, and galaxies exist, but contact, communication, and travel remain impossible across the vast majority of the cosmos. The light we see provides knowledge of existence, but does not alter the permanent isolation dictated by expansion and the cosmic architecture. Every galaxy is a solitary campfire in a sea of darkness, burning in isolation while the void between them stretches endlessly. The loneliness is structural, inevitable, and eternal, reinforced by expansion, emptiness, and the event horizon that governs the ultimate reach of the universe. Beyond the local group, the universe is a growing desert. Galaxy clusters drift apart as dark energy accelerates the expansion of space, stretching voids faster than gravity can pull structures together. Filaments connecting clusters thin, walls of galaxies dissipate, and vast emptiness dominates. Even galaxies that appear near each other in telescope images are separated by millions of light years in three-dimensional reality. Light from these galaxies travels for millions or billions of years, yet expansion ensures many are already moving beyond the cosmic event horizon. Observation is possible, but interaction is impossible. The universe is not a connected network, it is a collection of isolated islands, each surrounded by darkness that grows with time. Photons become messengers of the past, carrying information from billions of years ago, while present conditions remain unreachable. Cosmic expansion ensures that the observable universe is a temporary window. In the future, these galaxies will drift farther apart, and the event horizon will permanently sever them from each other. Even the brightest galaxies, burning with billions of stars, exist in solitude, separated by emptiness that is both spatial and temporal. Civilization, if it emerges, remains trapped within local systems. Even advanced technology cannot bridge these voids. Travel at near light speed would require millions of years, and energy demands exceed anything a civilization could plausibly achieve. Signals degrade over cosmic distances, and light itself stretches beyond detectability. The universe allows awareness but denies connection. Each galaxy, each cluster, is an island of light in a vast ocean of expanding darkness, and the emptiness will only increase with time. The structural isolation of the cosmos is the defining feature of its architecture. Even if life exists widely across galaxies, isolation remains absolute. A civilization in a galaxy hundreds of millions of light years away could evolve intelligence, technology, and culture. Yet it cannot communicate or interact with others beyond its gravitationally bound system. Signals sent at light speed take millions of years to arrive, and expansion stretches their wavelengths, reducing energy and degrading information. A single exchange between distant civilizations becomes meaningless. Replies arrive long after the senders or receivers have vanished. Intergalactic travel is similarly prohibitive. Even at near light speeds, crossing millions of light years would take thousands to millions of years on board, exceeding practical lifespans. The universe enforces solitude structurally, expansion, emptiness. And the cosmic event, horizon guarantee permanent isolation. Knowledge of other galaxies does not change this. Observing a galaxy informs existence, not accessibility. Civilizations, planets, stars, all are islands in the expanding void. Even trillions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, remain effectively alone. The universe permits awareness but denies interaction. Light allows observation of the past, but no present connection exists. Each galaxy is a solitary campfire, burning amidst darkness that expands relentlessly. Isolation is structural, unavoidable, and intensifying over cosmic time. Even with abundant life, the architecture of the cosmos ensures permanent separation, leaving civilizations to exist in solitude across a vast and ever-growing cosmic desert. Galaxies are not the dominant feature of the universe. They are rare islands of light, suspended in a vast, expanding darkness. Deep field images from Hubble and James Webb give the illusion of crowding, of connection, of accessibility, but the truth is profoundly different. Each galaxy exists in near total isolation, separated from others by millions or billions of light-years of almost empty space. The intergalactic medium contains only a handful of particles per cubic meter, and even this diffuse plasma is insufficient to bridge distance or allow meaningful interaction. Dark matter forms the scaffolding of the cosmic web, but it cannot connect galaxies in any way accessible to life or technology. Expansion, accelerated by dark energy, stretches voids further, thins filaments, and drives most galaxies beyond the cosmic event horizon, ensuring that isolation will only increase over time. Even light traveling at the cosmic speed limit cannot overcome these distances once galaxies cross the horizon. Observers see ancient light, fossils of past states, while the present remains forever unreachable. The universe permits knowledge, but denies connection. Civilization, if it exists across these trillions of galaxies, is trapped in local islands of matter. Radio signals, light, or spacecraft cannot bridge the emptiness. Every galaxy burns with billions of stars, potentially harboring planets, and perhaps life, yet remains functionally alone. The cosmic architecture enforces solitude structurally. Filaments are tenuous. Clusters are islands. Voids dominate, even within the densest gravitationally bound systems. Separation is measured in millions of light years, and outside these islands, it grows endlessly. Observation creates the illusion of proximity, but reality is isolation. Every luminous galaxy is a solitary campfire in a dark ocean, and the darkness defines the universe more fundamentally than light ever could do. The universe is not a network or a community. It is a framework of separation, a place where emptiness dominates and distance becomes the defining feature of reality. Expansion time and structural isolation ensure that galaxies remain islands, each burning alone in the growing darkness of space. Imagine standing on a planet orbiting a star within Milky Way, the future merged galaxy of the Milky Way and Andromeda. Look up, and the dense core of your galaxy stretches across the sky in a river of light. It is magnificent, familiar, and full of stars. But beyond this glow, darkness dominates. No other galaxies are visible. Filaments connecting distant clusters have thinned. The cosmic web has dissolved. Superclusters that once seemed close are receding into unobservable distance. Stretched beyond the cosmic event horizon by expansion, the universe is a collection of isolated islands. Every galaxy is a campfire, burning with billions of stars, potentially hosting planets and life, yet surrounded by a vast ocean of darkness. Civilization, intelligence, and technology exist only locally. Travel to other galaxies is impossible, communication across distances fails, and light from distant worlds arrives only as fossils of the past. Observation does not equal connection. The universe allows us to see, measure, and study distant structures, but it ensures isolation is permanent. Emptiness is the rule. Light is the exception. The architecture of the cosmos is designed around isolation. Expansion stretches distances. Dark energy accelerates voids, and the event horizon defines ultimate limits of reach. Even with trillions of galaxies, the vast majority are islands, forever beyond interaction. And in this, the universe reveals a profound truth: existence is solitary. Each galaxy, each civilization, each cluster exists alone, surrounded by darkness that grows ever wider. We are observers of a universe full of light, yet ruled by absence. Our campfire burns in the night, illuminating only our own patch of space, while the infinite darkness stretches beyond comprehension. This is the sleepy universe. The universe is vast, luminous, and utterly alone. As we drift toward the end of this journey through the cosmos, take a moment to let the scale of reality settle around you. The universe is immense, filled with galaxies, stars, and the potential for life, yet dominated by emptiness. The distances between galaxies are not just large, they are fundamentally insurmountable. Expansion, dark energy, and the cosmic event horizon ensure that isolation is permanent. Every galaxy is a luminous island, burning in solitude within a vast ocean of darkness. Even civilizations, should they exist, remain trapped on their own islands, unable to communicate, travel, or touch one another. Light connects us only to the past. The present remains unreachable. Knowledge does not overcome distance, and observation cannot replace interaction. And yet, there is a strange beauty in this reality. Each campfire of stars illuminates a corner of space, a point of warmth, a testament to the extraordinary processes that built the cosmos. While emptiness dominates, the galaxies themselves tell a story of matter, energy, and life defying the void. As you lay back, eyes closing, let this vast, silent, and lonely universe lull your mind. Imagine yourself floating gently between galaxies, surrounded by the quiet darkness that defines cosmic scale. Your thoughts carried along by light years of emptiness. Feel the wonder of existence inside your own island of stars, even as the universe continues its relentless expansion, stretching voids and deepening solitude. Remember, the sleepy universe is both magnificent and humbling. It is a place where light burns brightly, yet isolation reigns supreme. And tonight, as you drift into sleep, know that you are part of this grand, luminous solitude, a conscious observer of a universe that is vast, lonely, and endlessly mysterious. Thank you for joining this journey through space, time, and silence. May your dreams float among the stars, carried gently across the oceans of cosmic darkness.